let's go ahead and get into our underdog token. And I went back and forth on this one. There are two tokens I wanted to really cover. One of them I believe is a straight up. I believe I don't think it's a scam, but I think it's sketchy as all get out. And then the other one I think is solid, but everybody else thinks it's sketchy. Like it's this weird paradigm, and I'm not sure how we got to this point where, I'm so diametrically opposed to some of the regular retail investors. There's three type of investors. There's the FOMO type of investor. They're just going to react every time they see the graph. They never zoom out. They just react. Every time they see red, they're FOMO selling. Every time they see green, they're FOMO buying. They're the FOMO investors. Then there's what I call the gamblers. The gamblers are the ones that don't really care about the graph as much. What they do care about is the risk, right? There's something that looks like I can make 10x, 100x, let's fucking go, people. And they'll just buy in because they think they make a lot of money. They're the gambler types. Then there's the fundamentalists, the ones that their stock market through and through, and they want it to behave like the stock market. So they want limit orders and stop buys and stop sales, and they don't want it. They don't even care about movement of the price necessarily. They put in a basis, and they want to be able to hedge their losses and all this stuff. And the FOMO crowd is so large. They got to be like 80% of the total. There's so many of them, the FOMO people in and out. And they're the ones that criticize me when I say, I think this is a joke. I don't think it's good. You might make money, but I don't think it's worth your time. And I get all beat up. Like on YouTube, we have the snippets on basic cryptonomics, and that's getting really popular. Apparently people like it. And I cover different projects and I get different feedback. And it's like, geez, can't you tell that this is this? And it's like, well, yeah, but make money. Cool. But I'm not just about whether you make money or not. I'm about long term and about sentiment and about fundamentals and about tell me why you think that this is worth your time. And if, as long as it's a strong case, we can have a conversation. Ideally, have the token on the show. So I looked at these two projects and I'm like, I got to cover one of them today and then one of them another day. Which one should I cover first? The one that I believe in, but everybody else thinks is a scam, or the one that I think is a scam and everybody else believes in? Ladies and gentlemen, I chose the one that I believe in. And the reason I did is because I don't think they're getting the same exposure. And I think that's unfair to them from my angle and my perspective. And I do think that it's a solid, from what I can see, project. And so I'm going to talk about them first and cover them. And just to be clear, I did actually cover a sense, as far as the process. So the token I'm going to be covering is called Multi-Chain Capital. Multi-Chain Capital, that's mchain.capital. It's on the Binance and Ethereum Smart Chain. So that's two chains. Let me tell you the reason that I purposely chose and the reason I think this one is a solid bet that I don't think is getting a fair shot on it. If you understand the multi-chain concept, Multiverse has the same thing. Thorium has the same thing. The Libero has the same thing. There's a lot of these that are doing this similar concept where they exist on multiple networks. And as they exist on multiple networks, they essentially farm the value and profits from multiple, and then they benefit all of the network holders equally. So this is a popular thing right now. And they're usually a capital of some kind, right? Or a finance. When I looked at multi-chain capital, the only reason I even knew about it is because I got it for free because it was on AnyPrinter and you can claim stake rewards on AnyPrinter for MCC. So I did it a couple times because why not? And I was watching it and I did some research and I saw a bunch of people trashing it. It's a scam. It's not going to succeed. It's garbage. It's this. So I'm like, okay, let me take a look a little bit deeper. Let me explain this to you. Okay. This tool, mchain.capital, go to site. They are upfront, transparent. They said, we're here about passive income. That's what we're doing. And we're on multiple networks and we're going to add more. And we're going to take all these from multiple layer networks and we're going to give them back to you guys on Ethereum and Binance so that you get reflections from the entire portfolio. It's farming as a service, which that's a definition of the term, and it's hyperdeflationary. And they use the concept, what they call a black hole. So basically every time there's a trade, a small bit sent to this black hole. Rich Quack has a similar mechanic. And so this compounds. So as reflections happen, those are getting sent to the black hole as well. And then there's long-term investments into stronger projects over time. So they're investing on your behalf as well. It's fully CertiK audited. And it also has a Solidity audit, which of course, I don't really rate the Solidity audit, don't care, because that's about code, not fundamentals, not function, not structure. The CertiK audit came back and it was a pretty clean darn audit. The only thing that the issue had to do with the The major, like I talked about before, it's usually centralization, and everybody has that same problem. It's not. It usually doesn't mean too much. I run it through a different tool. I talked about Market Move, and Market Move loves it. Market Move thinks it's pretty darn good. Market Move seems to think that the ownership is renounced. It seems to think that, but the weird thing is that the owner still has certain privileges. So I don't know what that means, but they seem to think that it's renounced because they didn't claim that it's not. And the liquidity appears to be locked as far as we can tell. That would be on PancakeSwap. I believe it is. 83% of it is locked, yes, on PancakeSwap. And then the number of holders is in healthy state, and there's nobody that holds more than 0.5% of the stake. So there's no like super whales in this one. That's good because it means nobody can really tank it, and that's important. I want to stress how important that is. That so many tokens have that problem of whales getting involved in the mix, and then they can harm the project. Satama has that issue. That's why we have those dumps. Shinjas has the issue. That's why they have those dumps. There's a 8% tax, 4% reflections, 4% goes to the treasury so that they can find and buy into the projects. What I really love though, they do a masterful job of updates, signature updates. They have an embedded tool, and I believe it's Medium based, where they tell you the things that they're doing, the multi-nodes, the capital, the flagship product, which is multi-print, which is kind of a variation copy of AnyPrint, long-term plans, farming strategy, hyperdeflation. They're telling you what they do. They're telling you why they do it. They're telling you what their plans are. They're telling you where they're going as a project. It's amazing. I love it. Hercules, that no other project seems to want to do. They have the FAQ that tells you about the audit. They tell you about the liquidity being locked for 100 years. They tell you about the tokenomics. They break it down. Like they tell you everything that you need to know. It does not appear to be fully doxed that I can tell, but it does have a few people that have identified themselves, and they have names in certain places, and they all have social media accounts. Looks like Twitter is their go-to for that. Some people have photos, some people don't, and even there are people that do administration on the social media. The social media is the one of the only two things that I don't like because I don't see that they support their Reddit account, and I do think Reddit, as I've said about Boda, I do think Reddit needs to be a key place that you find and maintain and cultivate your community because Reddit's one of the go-tos when you search. Now, of course, they do, Telegram, Medium, and their own site, or excuse me, Twitter, Twitter, Medium, and their own site very well. So they are searchable, generally speaking, but Reddit has a masterful number of users across the world. I think Reddit's what you should embrace, 100%. When they have an indicator that tells you how much is burned, and as it stands right now and the velocity they're going to go, this is in a really good shape. It looks like people are going to be in good profits at some point in the future, and they have an amazing dashboard. You go into the deal, and it shows you everything that's happening. It shows you where the assets are, what network they're on, what the liquidity is looking like, the supply mechanics, the buybacks that have happened, everything. And then there's a bridge where you can go from Binance to Ethereum and vice versa. I'm amazed at what they've built. Listen up, gentlemen and ladies. Here's the one thing that I don't like. The one thing I don't like. I do not see a white paper at all. If it's there, I'm not seeing it, and that's a problem because your white paper should be prominent right there, immediately, easy, able to find. If you go to docs in that dashboard I talked about, it takes you to Medium. Medium's not a white paper. Medium's not even a Git book. Like Medium is Medium. That's not a white paper. You need a white paper PDF that I can download and have access to. If it's somewhere on your site, it's not in an intuitive place, as far as I can tell. Because I looked everywhere, scrolling up and down, and I don't see it. And it needs to be there. Everything else, man, I love this thing. I love the way that they've done the web. I love the way that they've done the tool. I love the tokenomics of it. I love the taxation of it. And so far, it's been a pretty strong, reliable deal. So number one, I need a Reddit site. You need to support your Reddit. I'm sure there's one out there, but you need to support it and back it as an administrative tool for communication. Second, white paper. I need it. It needs to be there, PDF on your site so we know what you're doing and we can assess it. That's it. Multi-chain, mchain.capital. Take a look at that one. I think it's solid personally and see if it makes sense for you.